Whoever told you that everyone is going to love you on semen retention, they didn't have the complete picture. Probably the biggest red pill that you will learn and face on this journey is the fact that most people will not like you, and it is something that you have absolutely no control over. Most people will have a perception of you straight away, even before they know what your name is, even before you have any type of conversation with them. They will have an idea of you in their head, and it'll be hard to change that. Now, like, you might be thinking, okay, so how come they make an assumption so quickly? Well, it's because of your energy field and your aura and what it represents. It has a way of triggering deep insecurity and lack that people have inside of themselves that they don't know how to face. Or maybe they aren't even aware that it's there. But there's just something about how you carry yourself that pisses them off. Maybe it's because they wish they had that type of confidence. Maybe they wish that they had the people skills to pull off such and such social situation. It can be hard to accept this fact of this journey, because at least at the very start, like, a big motivator is the fact that you think that people will receive me a lot better now because I am coming from a more pure and honest place. Now, in theory, it makes sense. It makes sense, like I think we can all agree that we respect people that are honest, genuine for the most part, like good to be around. All of those things are traits that you exhibit. So, if that's the case, then what's the problem? Well, the problem is that your aura is just so different. How you carry yourself, like, to one person, it may come across as he is full of himself. And to another person, it'll come across as he is very assured of himself. And he is extremely confident in himself. And I trust him because of that. It completely depends on who you are interacting with, who the other person is. How much of this can you actually control? Well, one thing that I've realized is that I am starting to accept the fact that even though I have good intentions, even though I'm friendly to people, even though I talk to them with the basic human respect that everyone deserves, even though I do all of those things, it doesn't matter to some people. Some people are still going to hate you, and that is okay. I've realized that at first, many people will have the wrong idea of you. However, I have confidence in myself that if I actually have an opportunity to have a conversation with this person, like for them to actually see me, who I am, I have utmost confidence that eventually they will come around, and eventually they will see that their initial perception of me was wrong. I've had people say this to me before. I've had some guys say, "Oh man, I was wrong about you." Like when I first met you, I thought that you were selfish, arrogant, just someone who was only out for themselves and not a team player. And I was I was perplexed by this, and I was like, how the hell did you come to that conclusion? And he said, I don't know. It was just how I read you. And then a month or so later, after I had, and this is through my actions, right? Like this isn't me like trying to make a case, like just purely through my actions. Like he comes up to me and he said, "Man, I was wrong about you. Everything I thought that you were, like after I've actually seen you and gotten to know you a bit better, like I was wrong, like, and I respected him for saying that. But like the thing is that not many people can actually come to that conclusion that, hey, I was wrong. Like maybe he isn't such a bad guy after all, because like it really is, it is speculative, right? Like a bad guy to one person, like has a completely different definition to what a bad guy for another person is, like the personality traits and blah, 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 blah. But I think the reason he came to such a quick and decisive conclusion after just seeing me for like one day is that he is assured of himself, he's confident, and that kind of, it makes me uncomfortable because I have a certain position here that, like I'm the big dog around here. And this guy, he thinks he's going to challenge me. Like that is kind of like the mentality I think that like he probably had. But yeah, like that is just one example of people just having the wrong idea of you straight away. And it's worth noting that this is why I'm such a big proponent of keeping yourself in check when it comes to how confident and and also how arrogant that you are, because if you want to invoke change in people, proving them wrong is one step towards making that a reality. You know, if you prove to someone that they were wrong about you, it forces them to kind of reflect on themselves and be like, aha, you know, like maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I didn't even give him a chance. Maybe I judged a book by its cover. Maybe there was some insecurity in me that this guy triggered and I kind of projected that onto him. I'd say that not many people would come to this conclusion, but it gives people an opportunity to actually self-reflect. However, if they were proven right and I turned out to be all of those things, you know, like it would not invoke any change at all. It would be like, oh yeah, I knew it. I'm always right, you know, like I'm always right. And that's, you know, like it may be doing them a disservice by allowing them to have that type of confirmation bias. Now back to the initial point is that can you accept that even though you have the purest of intentions, can you accept that a lot of people are not going to like you? Even before you have had a chance to actually express or show them who you actually are. You know, like, is that something that you can accept? Because like every person on this SR journey, eventually you will come to this kind of point where you're like, look, I am so assured of myself and I know that I am not I know I am not that guy, even though they are projecting that onto me. Are you so confident in yourself that you can accept that and be like, look, it doesn't affect me. I'm not going to change who I am because people are getting the wrong idea. As long as you are doing everything in your control to show them who you actually are as a person, you know, like that's pretty much it. That's all that you can really control. If you thought that this whole thing would just be everyone loves me, everyone will respect me, everyone will think I'm the best thing since sliced bread, unfortunately, I think that this is a bitter red pill that you need to swallow eventually, and you will, because I mean it can hurt. You know, like that people aren't going to give you like the same chance and respect that you think that you deserve. And it shouldn't even be a matter of you wanting their approval. That isn't what I'm saying here. I'm saying that, are you okay with the fact that your good intentions, they'll get thrown back at your face? And it'll teach you some lessons, just take it on board. However, what you don't want it to do is to change you as far as who you are. It is a resonance thing. I mean, you can't really control who is in resonance with you. I've had some interactions where at first they would not even look at me. They would not even acknowledge me. They would not even want anything to do with me at all. And this is all before I've actually had a conversation with them, introduced myself, right? Even before all of that. And then after our first interaction, our first real interaction, after we've actually had had some small talk, had a conversation, and then slowly but surely, they start to oh yeah, he's not such a bad guy, he isn't up himself, he doesn't talk down to me, because I think that is a lot. I think that is what people are kind of afraid of. That oh yeah, this guy, he's just gonna be a condescending prick. Yeah, and yeah. So basically, what I'm getting at is just, it is okay that not everyone is going to like you, but if you are so confident in yourself that I think eventually people will finally see you in the truest way that you present yourself. And I think that is the main thing, to actually be seen for who you are, instead of some mask that you have to pretend to be, just so that you don't step on anyone's insecurities. So yeah, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows when it comes to how other people are perceiving you. It may be like that at the very start because it is such a big shift, but I can pretty much guarantee you that the longer you go, the more you are going to irritate people without actually doing anything. And is that something that you can accept? Cheers.